Well, hey friends, welcome back to the channel. We talk about everything related to hiking and backpacking through the Southwest and beyond. Some of you might know that I'm hiking the John Muir Trail this summer. I'm actually starting in a couple of weeks from Happy Isles, going all the way down to Whitney Portal, and doing Half Dome along the way. So I'm super stoked about that. And people have been asking what I eat when I'm backpacking, and I thought I would wait until I was actually going on a thru hike to really sort of break it down, what my menu is going to be for a couple of weeks on trail. And so I'm going to break down for all you gram nerds how many calories I'm bringing per day and exactly how many calories per ounce are going to be in my pack. And at the end, I'm going to talk just a little bit about my resupply strategy on the John Muir Trail, because the logistics are definitely challenging for this little 2-week hike. So I'm going to start with breakfast, eating a complete cookie, Lenny and Larry's, with an F-bomb. This is a company out of Flagstaff. It's macadamia nut butter. I think the F might be for fat, because it's got high fat content, but it could also be Flagstaff. But when I hear F-bomb, I kind of just hear fuck. So it's a nice reminder on the trail. So for an AM snack, I'm eating a Lara bar. And for lunch, I'm going to have another Lara bar, another F-bomb, and then Bobos, either a Bobos or like a monk pack, which is sort of like a complete cookie. Then my afternoon snack is macadamia nuts, and this is about 3 ounces of macadamia nuts right here. And macadamia nuts are actually the most caloric dense of nuts. It's about like 215 to 220 calories per ounce. So this little 3-ounce snack pack here is over 650 calories, so it really helps me get my quota in for the day. And then for dinner, I don't like to do Mountain House or Backpacker's Pantry or anything like that. I prefer to make my own backcountry meals, and for one thing, the pre-made freeze-dried meals are really expensive, like $10 a pop. It's as expensive as going out to eat, really. But then at the same time, the package, it's heavier, it takes up more volume, which is undesirable in a bear can type of situation, like I'll have in Sierra Nevada. And then additionally, when I'm making my own food, I get to season it how I want to and portion it how I want to. So what I do is I get a big thing of vegetables and beans from Harmony House, and then I mix it with either rice, minute rice, or couscous. This is a couscous concoction that I've made here. I mix it with some pinto beans and tomatoes and peppers and corn and peas and carrots and things like that, along with some Latin seasoning, some red chili powder, some coconut milk powder, and some nutritional yeast. And then I'll put some olive oil in there, which this olive oil is really a staple in any thru hiker's diet. The most calorie dense foods that you can get are fats and oils, and so this really adds a lot of calories to your food, and then makes it feel kind of substantial. Eating some grease and oil at the end of the day feels really good after climbing mountains all day. And then to spice it up just a little bit more, I've got some Del Inferno sauce from Del Taco. And I don't mean to get political because this is a backpacking video, but Del Taco destroys Taco Bell any day of the week. It's not even close. So out here in the Southwest, got Del Tacos everywhere, and that's the ultimate spot. And having some hot sauce from Del Taco is critical for the backcountry meal. In addition to that, got some potato chips I'm gonna put in there for a little bit of crunch, and that's about 2 ounces of potato chips, kind of like crushed up, ground up. That's about 300 extra calories adding to the meal right there, along with a nice little crunch. And so here is my dessert, and some Oreos, about 6 of the Mega Stuff Oreos, which is also super high calorie. This is like over 500 calories just for those 6 little Oreos. And so I forgot to mention actually that also carrying electrolytes for every day. So I got 2 packets of electrolytes. It's been a really hot summer so far. It's trending towards being a record hot summer in the Southwest, so I kind of anticipate spending time above tree line or in exposed areas, doing big climbs every day. I'm going to be losing a lot of electrolytes in my sweat, so I'm really going to rely on that to kind of keep me hydrated and keep me energized and lively as I grind those miles out. So as you can see, I've got everything broken out, and not everybody likes to do it this way. Some people like to get a bigger bag of chips and a bigger bag of trail mix and a bigger bag of nuts and kind of just like eat when you're hungry and sort of eat on the go instead of portioning out. And this is a lot of work, but I'm kind of particular in that way. I like knowing what I have, exactly what I'm carrying, what it weighs, how many calories I'm getting, and just sort of planning my meal. So sometimes I eat because it's time to eat on the trail, because there's times where you're on a big climb getting your ass kicked and you feel like, oh man, I'm out of shape. But sometimes, you're not out of shape actually. Sometimes what's really happening is that your reserves are low and you need some calories. So kind of eating this way, eating, breakfast, AM snack, lunch, PM snack, dinner, dessert, kind of keeps me going all day. Keeps the metabolism going, but keeps my energy level going as well. So looking at this whole menu here, this whole pile right here, adds up to 3,686 calories, and it weighs 28.7 ounces. So doing the math, that comes out to about 128 calories per ounce, which is pretty damn good. 100 to 110 calories is considered to be lightweight, but over 125 is really lightweight. So I feel really good about that. It became especially important on this trip because I'm doing an 8-day food carry. So moving on to talking about my resupply, there's a lot of options coming southbound. There's Tuolumne Meadows first, and then Reds Meadow, and then VVR and MTR, which is actually very expensive and isn't too far from VVR. Basically from VVR, you have about 140 miles to go on trail if you hike all the way down to Whitney Portal, which you kind of have to. The JMT ends at the top of Mount Whitney, but you're 11 miles from your car, so you can't very well end there. And so you're in a situation where you have, coming southbound, a plethora of resupply options in the beginning, and then the longest part of your trail really doesn't have any good resupply options. So we opted to, because we're driving, we'll go right by the Tuolumne Meadows Ranger Station. We're actually going to leave some food in the bear box at the campground there at Tuolumne Meadows. And so when we start at Happy Isles, we're just going to carry a day or two of food and then resupply and get enough food to make it to day 6 when we get to VVR. And then from VVR, we'll pick up and resupply the rest of our food for the whole trip, which will be about 8 days. And so you don't have to do that. There are some other options, and one that's super expensive is you can get a pack mule or a horse or something. There's some sort of pack thing you can do where they'll bring in your food on horseback or muleback, and that costs hundreds of dollars. I would never consider that, but that's an option, obviously. And then there's a couple of places where you can hike off the trail, off of the JMT over a pass and hitch into a town. So you could hike over Bishop Pass, hitch into Bishop, and either resupply in the town or mail something to the post office. And then the very last, a couple of days before you finish, is Kearsarge Pass, where you can go over Kearsarge Pass and down to Onion Valley, and you can either hitch into Independence, or you can leave food in the bear box at Onion Valley Campground. And that was an option I actually liked. I would have been open to doing that, but there's a member of my group who was like, yeah, if it's more miles, I'm out. So we opted to just do the long food carry instead of hiking any extra miles. So yeah, that's what we decided with, just leaving some food in the bear box at Tuolumne Meadows, which is free, by the way. Instead of, if you have the option to drive, you save the money on postage and you save the money on paying them to hold your stuff. And then VVR, which actually this year the ferry isn't running, so we're gonna have to hike to VVR. But I plan to we plan to take a zero there and kind of hang out, charge our phones and stuff. I might rent a paddleboard, although I might just fucking vegetate if I'm too tired to paddleboard and swim. But yeah, that's the plan. So actually I was able to get all of my food into my Barricade Weekender, which I was really happy about. I just bought this can for this trip, and I decided, since I was having to carry so much food for so many days and it was going to weigh so much, that I would just try to go as light as I possibly could. And at one point I even considered getting the Scout. I think a member of my group actually did get the Scout, and I'm really grateful that I didn't, because at first these 7 days of food didn't even fit in there. And that's worth mentioning, that I've got a whole day of food right here, so you actually don't have to put your first day's food into the bear can, because if you think about it, you're eating breakfast, lunch, snacks and dinner before bed that first day. It doesn't need to go in the can, so it's okay if it doesn't fit. So just get every day except your first day in the can. But when I initially packed this, I had packed chips, because I like to bring chips for lunch every day. It's a nice snack. It's salty. It's actually really easy to eat. While fats and oils are the most caloric dense food on the market, when you think about what chips are basically carbs fried in fats. So it's like 150, 160 calories per ounce, which is pretty good. And then at the same time, you're burning so many calories. If you're hiking 20 plus miles a day, you're burning way more than you can eat. And so you really need to be eating 3,000 or more calories just to sustain, not even to put on mass, right? And so sometimes it's hard to eat all of the food. It's just as hard to eat as much as you really need. But chips are something that's it's very easy to eat. You think about how you could polish a bag of chips without even realizing it while kicking back watching Netflix. So it's good to have things on trail that not only do you like, but they're easy to eat. But I went to pack it in there, and these chips only get so small, and I had these big 3-ounce bags of chips that were taking up just too much space. So had I not changed that, I would have had about 2 days worth of food that wouldn't fit in my pack. So I would have had at least 1 extra day of food having to stay out of the bear can at night, which meant that I would either have to carry a bear bag or an Ursack to hang my food, or I would have had to sleep with it in some kind of odor-proof bag. And so it's nice now, having switched out some things, I actually switched to the Bobos instead of carrying the chips, so that now all my food fits in the can, so I can rest and relax and not have to worry about a bear running under my tarp in the middle of the night. So that's nice. So my plan, actually, just to get a little more specific, is to actually package this separately in the resupply box. So I'm going to put all of my first day's food into a shopping bag and have the rest of it out. So that way, when I get to VVR and get my resupply box, I don't have to think about it at all. I put this aside, and I put everything else in my bear can, and then this is going to ride in the mesh pocket of my pack on the way out that first day. So it's all about making things simple for yourself, although I complicated it much by portioning everything out meal by meal. I think all in all, it's going to make this very simple for me, and I'm looking forward to getting out there. So if you enjoyed this video at all, do me a favor and hit that like button, and please consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching.